In this tutorial, I want to walk through and follow up on our trade in oil. At the time, we had identified a high probability trade, and you need to look at the previous video which talks about this in more detail, but we saw a pullback in USO and we therefore identified a high probability trade around the 6th of April, which is where my bar is now, and we were looking for USO to continue to rise into this resistance level as explained in the previous video. And you can see USO has in fact over the course of the trade has in fact come into that resistance level and reached our target of around $20, which we had set back in 6th of April. At the time, USO was trading at 18.43 and we were only looking for a 10% rise in this asset. Now, I had identified another ETF to trade this opportunity, which was DIG. Now, we can see DIG at the time was in a similar pattern. The 6th of April was here when we saw a nice bullish bar, a strong indication that the ETF was going to rise over the next few days. So let me just highlight that bar so you can see that was when we had entered the trade. That was when I had posted the case study. And we were also just looking for DIG to sort of follow the USO and move up into the next level of resistance. So this was the previous level of resistance, and you can see the asset had actually moved up into that level, and now it's finding resistance. I actually exited the trade back here, which I think was 15th. That is, yes, that's the 15th of April. So let me switch over now to the actual options that we had constructed for this position. And it was all explained in the previous video, so this is really just a follow-up, and now we're taking profits on this trade. We had entered the position with an approximate cost of around $500 at the time when this trade was put on. We only had 11 days to options expiry, so I didn't want to expose too much risk in the trade and therefore only put up around $500. You can see with the move up in DIG, we've generated a nice 305% return on our money, which equates to a nice $1,500 profit. So not bad for a couple of weeks. In fact, the trade only took us about 10 to 15 minutes to identify and put on. So this amount of profit has been generated with only 15 minutes of work. So very exciting and very powerful technique to leverage. Now, if I had more time in the options, I would have looked at making an adjustment for this trade, but because when the trade was closed, we only had 2 days left to options expiry. The options have now expired. I'm now doing this video, on Saturday. The options expired in last night's trading. So if I had more time, I would have made an adjustment, locked in some of these profits, and looked to potentially profit if USO continued to rise. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, folks. Hope it helps, and always understand your risk and note that these videos are for your education only. Happy trading.